Hi there, and welcome to the Mindful Marathon podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Quirk, a run coach and pediatrician. Mindful Marathon is all about helping runners of all types to run their own race. Whether you are a seasoned runner or you're just getting started, I want to let you know that you're welcome here and that you're in the right place. Hi, my friend, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Super excited to be here with you and to be in your ears wherever you are at this moment. And I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday weekend. This episode will be dropping the Monday of Memorial Day. And today we are going to visit another mindfulness moment episode. So, in the past, I've done a couple of these where we take a mindfulness topic and go a little bit more in depth, and I'll give some prompts and guiding so that if you've never experienced this before, I will take you through it step by step, and all you have to do is listen. Today, we're going to be talking about softening the inner critic. And there's a lot to unpack there, but many of us have a lot of self-critical thought patterns. By taking a look at this, we can understand why they developed and then practice observing these thoughts without immediately believing them or obeying them. So I hope this will be very helpful for you. The inner critic is something that many runners and many high achievers are extremely familiar with, right? The running commentary often goes something like this. You should be doing more, you're behind, you're not doing enough, this shouldn't feel so hard, you're not running fast enough. And often that voice isn't just always with us on the run, it follows us into every other aspect of our life. So it shows up in our work, our parenting, our relationships, our rest, and our recovery. And so I especially want to acknowledge here my colleagues in medicine, especially women physicians. We have trained in environments where self-criticism and perfectionism were normalized and rewarded. And so we have an especially critical inner critic, if that makes sense. So, why does the inner critic develop? Let's talk about that first before we get into the mindfulness practice. So, the first reason is that our critic served as protection. So, the avoidance of failure has served many of us very well, right? It helped us prepare and study harder and double check details and not make mistakes, push through exhaustion. I have a lot on this list. And in many ways, that internal pressure that we put on ourselves really helped us succeed in our careers, in our professions. But at some point, I know I have realized this, and maybe you have too, but what once functioned as serving us and helping protect us can then start to feel like suffering because the inner critic is rarely ever saying things like, oh, you've done enough, you are enough, you're doing great. It simply keeps moving the finish line. Some common patterns I see with the inner critic, there are three. There are ones that are performance-based, ones that are productivity-based, and ones that are identity-based. And here are just a couple of examples, and you can think to yourself, how is your inner critic showing up today? So performance-based would be, I should be faster, or this pace is embarrassing. Productivity-based would be something like, rest is laziness, I'm falling behind. Identity-based would be, maybe I'm not disciplined enough, and I used to be better. Now, when we talk about mindfulness and having mindfulness about this, it's not asking us to eliminate the thought because we're still going to have these thoughts. We're still going to have our inner critic show up. But mindfulness asks us to simply notice the thought. The thought is not a fact, even though it might seem like a fact, right? The thoughts are very real, but they are not commands. They are things that come and go. And so before we do this practice, I just want to say that we're not trying to, or I'm not trying to force positivity when we think about the inner critic. We're not going to just change it around and make it a positive statement. The practice today is about observing the inner critic without automatically handing it the microphone. So you are in charge. So, wherever you are, whether you are walking, running, resting, preparing for sleep, I want you to settle in here. There is nothing that you need to achieve and nothing that you need to fix when we do this practice. We're simply going to practice noticing, which, if you haven't done this before, it can feel foreign. And if you are in motion or you're driving a car, please don't close your eyes right now. But I would welcome you to download this episode and return to it again, maybe first thing in the morning or right before you go to sleep, and try this exercise again because different things show up at different times, and that can be a fun exercise. Now we're going to move into the guided practice. So, first thing we're going to do, I want you to take some big, deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just settling in here. And we're just going to begin by noticing your breath. There's no need to change it. Just notice the inhale and the exhale. Whether you are in motion or you're at rest, I'd like you to invite in awareness of your feet, your legs, your hips, chest, shoulders, neck, arms, hands, jaw, face, forehead. Notice where your body may be holding tension. Now begin noticing the thoughts moving through your mind. You don't need to stop them. You don't need to pick an argument with them. Simply notice them arriving. Perhaps you notice thoughts about productivity, about whether you've done enough today. Perhaps thoughts about your pace, your body, your performance, or maybe thoughts unrelated to running at all. See if you can notice the tone of your thoughts. Are they demanding, critical, fearful, urgent? Now, let's create space from the thought. Instead of, I'm failing, try, I'm noticing a thought about failure. Instead of, I'm not enough, try, I'm noticing self-critical thoughts coming up. And then notice how just a small amount of space here can change the experience. Return your attention to the rhythm of your breath, the feeling of the air on your skin, the contact between your body and the surface beneath you, the rhythm of your footsteps, or the softness of your bed beneath you. Remember that you do not need to earn rest. You do not need to constantly prove your worth. You are allowed to be a person, not just a performer. You can care deeply about your work, your goals, and your growth without carrying yourself through relentless criticism. I want to leave you with two questions here. What would it feel like to speak to yourself like someone worthy of care? And what happens when your worth is no longer tied to productivity or performance? We're going to end the guided practice now. And as you return to your day or your night, I want us to remember that the inner critic is still going to visit, but we don't need to allow it in the driver's seat. Thoughts come and go, and you can always return to your breath and to your awareness. We don't need to abandon excellence to practice self-compassion. You can be thoughtful, capable, driven, all the things, and still speak to yourself with kindness. So that's all I have for you today for this week ahead. If you enjoyed the mindfulness moment, head over to the show notes for the links for the other episodes in this special series. There's a guided body scan, a race day visualization exercise, and much more. And if you have ideas for future episodes, in the Mindfulness Moments series or otherwise, please send them my way. I'm always looking for what my podcast listeners would like to hear. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will catch you again next Monday. Thank you for listening today. If you enjoyed the episode, please share it with a friend. And if you have a moment, please rate and review the podcast so that we can reach and encourage others to tie on their sneakers and join us out there on a run. See you next time.